Ever noticed how 80s sci-fi loves to give us the chills about robots and AI taking over? Terminator and Blade Runner are franchises that come to mind often, not only to explore our possible future, but also to reflect on how we treat each other. However, the creation of the original party robot was influenced by two apparently unconnected events and one sci-fi franchise. Today, I will talk about Fred Wolf's version of Metalhead. Metalhead shares his name with another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise character. He was a superhero who debuted in August 1988 in the 15th issue of Volume 1. He was created by Peter Laird and was also an android who formed part of the Justice Force. Where this character differs from other robots is in his use of psychokinesis. He uses his power to weaponize his long and strong hair. But you may as well forget everything I said, because this is just a different android with the same name and the same franchise. So how did the main character of this video come to be? Going back to the late 80s fascination with robots, RoboCop hit cinemas in 1987, and despite not being for kids, it became a marketing sensation. This is what probably inspired the people behind the Playmates toy line. In this design made by Andy Counds from Anaglyph Studios, Scott Hensey's studio, we can see an early version of Metalhead, simply named Robo-Turtle. The RoboCop visual inspirations were evident, from his colors to his articulations to even his chest plate. This sketch dates back to September 1988. By then, the Mirage version was already published. I can only imagine that, at some point in the design process, someone might have decided that perhaps Metalhead was too similar to RoboCop, and this might have led them to make some visual modifications, like changing the color of his chest plate, adding more green and red, and other small details. But not as small as the name. Someone must have seen the name Metalhead within the license and thought it was the perfect choice for the character. So while the two androids have the same names, they are different enough to be unique. Of course, there would later be a Turtlebot, but that's a story for another day. Metalhead saw the light of day as an action figure in 1989, and in the third season of the show. The figure stood out against others at the time, as it came with robo-chucks that were interchangeable with his hand. He also had a metallized coat on his chest and shell, and an exposed brain that would make his eyes shine when put under the light. He also came with a removable backpack that contained an antenna. According to his bio, Krang designed him to be the ultimate weapon against the Turtles. But Donatello later reprogrammed him to become their servant robot. This is where his nickname of Party Robot came into place. His culinary abilities made him the life of the party, and his backpack also served as a video game console and a jukebox. But this Metalhead was also a fighter, and possibly the protector of the turtle lair. For his adaptation to TV, his origin remained the same, making it harder to figure out if it originated from the toy bio or the show. Unlike other characters, Metalhead was voiced by multiple actors, a clear sign of the poor android's identity problems. In The Making of Metalhead by Michael Reeves, the Turtles were knocked out cold with turtle pox, a bizarre sickness only mutant turtles could catch. How Splinter came to that conclusion is anyone's guess. With our heroes in a half-shell out of action, April took the day off to play nurse. Meanwhile, at the Technodrome, Krang created Metalhead, which he planned to program with the Turtles' fighting skills. But to do so, he needed a complete brainwave scan of the Turtles. With the help of a portable brainalyzer, Bebop and Rocksteady baited the Turtles to scan them. Once Metalhead was loaded with his new skills, he tunneled his way to the surface, equipped with a side camera for the villains to monitor his mission. He located the lair, captured April and Splinter, and overpowered the then-sick Turtles. Krang gave him the order to bring them to the Technodrome to have his revenge, but Donatello managed to disable the robot and later deprogram him. Now, with their voices and personalities, Metalhead proved to have a vacuum metallized personality disorder. Aware that the Shredder would be looking for him, they moved away from the lair. The villains intercepted them, and after getting shot by Bebop, Metalhead turned against everybody. It fell to Donatello, with April's assistance, to erase his old programming with radio waves. Metalhead then flipped sides, aiding the Turtles in their clash with the villains. Back at the lair, and with April's personality added to his identity matrix, Metalhead took after April in being the boy's nurse. What happened between this and his next appearance can only be assumed. Given what we know from his action figure biography, he probably became a robot servant for a while. But by the following season, in another Michael Reeves episode titled Big Bug Blunder, it was clear that the Turtles had grown out of Metalhead and stored him away. But Metalhead clearly had some quality time with them. He now had a flash drive slot on his belt buckle. Well, it was technically a floppy disk drive, to make him perform different types of tasks like vacuuming. But after seeing him almost get rid of all the furniture and Splinter, they decided to turn him off. And as far as we know, they never turned him on again. I'm pretty sure the character will make a return in the pages of the Saturday Morning Adventures. That is, if he hasn't already by the time you're watching this. Apart from the action figure and the cartoon, this version of the character also appeared as an antagonist in a few video games, such as Turtles in Time, Mutant Madness, and Shredder's Revenge. If you were caught up in Turtle Mania back in the day, and you happen to own that Metalhead action figure, then you've probably got some fond memories of him, even if he only showed up briefly in the show. Looking back, it feels like Metalhead could have been so much more in the cartoon. Maybe the writers were tiptoeing around to dodge a lawsuit from the RoboCop folks. Although the existence of Rex 1 is a giveaway that they weren't really scared of going there. Whatever the reason, Metalhead cracked open the door for other versions that I'll dive into in future videos. And though he wasn't exactly Metalhead, let's not forget Serling from the 2003 series, who also played the Turtles' robotic helper. He'll get his own spotlight in the future. So what are your memories of this character? How would you have spun his origin story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, see you in the sewers.